morning and welcome to our first webisode of Consulting Corner. I'm Kellie Uhlhorn, Agency Consultant here at Kite Technology Group.
And I'm Lauren Tripp, Director of Agency Consulting.
Today we're going to talk about a very exciting topic, and that is the importance of auditing within your agency. Although it may not be the most fun thing to do, it is vital to agency operations. So Lauren, can you tell us why an agency should audit?
Absolutely, Kellie. So there are several different reasons why you would want to audit your employees in your agency. Number one would be to get good reports out of Epic. So in a lot of situations, we have agencies come to us and say, we're not getting good reports. Information is all off. We don't think it's correct. So in order for you to have good reports, you need to have good data. And by auditing on a routine basis, you can get good data in the system and make sure that folks are entering what they should. In addition to that, if you have standardized workflows or are interested in standardizing your workflows, you want to audit to ensure that folks are following those workflows that you've put in place. Now, we also have some agencies that come to us, unfortunately, reactively after they've had an E&O exposure. So in some cases, if you're not auditing and doing those checks and balances to make sure that everybody's renewing policies on time, it could be that a policy it is expired and doesn't get renewed on time, which causes an issue for the client, especially if in that situation they also have a claim. So we definitely don't want that to happen. And that's, again, another reason why you want to audit on a regular basis to make sure that those things are happening properly. Some agencies also use the audits for balancing workload. You find that people they might have the same number of accounts, but some accounts are more work heavy than others. And occasionally you can only find that information by doing reports and also some hands-on account auditing. You can also use audits for training purposes. So if you are performing audits and finding that there's some consistent issues with people following workflows, you can create a training plan around those workflows that aren't being followed and the information that you find in the audits. And of course, finally, if you've been auditing for a while and everybody's past the whole training phase, you can also use those audits for performance reviews to just kind of gauge, how well folks are doing what they're doing.
All great reasons. And can you tell us what types of audits you recommend for agencies?
Sure, absolutely. Well, so reports, I know we started with getting good reports is part of why you want to audit, but you can start with a high-level view of what the agency is doing and what users are doing in Epic by creating some reports. Things like policies that are renewing but haven't actually been renewed in the system yet. So we call those missed renewals if they weren't started on time. You can also run things to see service summary row stages if folks are moving policies through the stage from in process to submitted. You can find information about your lost business, new business, and also see what fields aren't being completed. So if you are reviewing reports on a regular basis, you can see if things like your estimated premium and commission are being completed, agency commission percent, just a lot of information from a high level that you can see. Then we also have data and procedural audits, which is what Kellie does on a pretty regular basis for some of our agencies. And in a procedural audit, basically you'd be looking at questions based on your workflows. Kellie, what are some of the questions that you have on procedural audits?
For procedural audits, we see, are activities being closed on time? Are there any overdue activities? Are the applications being updated, once the policy is renewed? Is the policy being renewed in a timely manner? So those are typically the types of procedurals that we see, in addition to many others, obviously.
Right. Things like naming conventions, I know are one of your pet peeves when you can't find attachments in a system.
Yes.
So those procedural audits really are focused on, are the users following those standardized workflows that you put in place? And then we have data audits, which are basically looking to see, is information correct from start to finish? So, think about the process of binding coverage. You want to ensure that the coverage bound is what was requested. And also, what was proposed to the client is what was on the policy, and that information on the policy gets put in Epic. So, I know some things that Kelly sees on audits as well. Maybe folks have updated exposures or updated limits, and that information didn't get put into Epic, but it is reflected on the policy. So, in that case, you're really covering your E&O exposures. You do as well with the procedural audit, because that's checking to see if it was renewed on time. But you also make sure that you have adequate coverage, and that information, again, is consistent from start to finish when you do a data audit. It's really just to make sure that all of the things that were bound, proposed, and written on the policy are also matching what's in Epic.
Absolutely. So on that note, Lauren, where should an agency start?
Well, Kelly, that's a great question, and would say that you would want to start with standardized workflows. So if you don't have a workflow in place, it's really hard to create an audit around what's going on, because you don't have a guideline to show folks what they should be doing. So you really have to have those workflows in place first. Once you standardize the workflows, of course, you want to communicate that and train everyone on what the standardized workflows are, and then they have a good understanding of what they should be doing. So, once you've got your workflows in place, you've trained, you've done all your due diligence there to make sure folks know what they're supposed to do, that's when it's time to audit. And so you can start by scheduling those reports, whether it be missed renewals, information looking for accurate data, fields that are completed or incomplete on the policy. You can set up those reports to come out to you automatically. So there's no need to go in and click actions, generate a report. Just set it up so that it emails to you automatically on a regular basis. Depending on the type of report, it might be daily, weekly, or even monthly. And then once you've got those reports set up, you're going to want to structure your audits for procedural and data. It's best, I have a lot of folks ask, well, can I just run the reports, and is that enough information? It's really not, because you're not getting a whole picture of what is going on your agency's accounts. So you want to get that hands-on procedural audit done to ensure that workflows are being followed. And then you also want to create a data audit for checks and balances of the policy and the coverage itself. So think about some of the things that are important to you in the workflows, and that's how you can structure your procedural audit. And then for data audits, we kind of say, pick the main lines of business and audit those, like your GL, work comp, property, umbrella, auto, and just take things out of that. Are the coverages matching, deductibles matching, things like additional insured, waiver of subrogation, are they included? Are they supposed to be included? So that's kind of the structure you want to have to really get a good picture of everything that's going on your accounts. And then what else do you have for us, Kelly?
This is all great information, and it's also really important to determine who's going to do the audits. If you've got a manager or a training coordinator, they can audit. If you've got even if you got multiple locations, some agencies will do what's called a peer-to-peer audit and have employees from one office audit those from another office.
Right.
But if you don't have the bandwidth to audit internally, you can always outsource. And that is something that we offer here at Kite Technology. And for more information, you can go to our website at www.kitetechgroup.com and check out the insurance consulting link at the top of our page.
Absolutely. Like I said, Kelly does this all the time. She's very familiar with the process, and we would be happy to help you out in auditing your agency if you need that. So thank you guys for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you next time in our webisode of Consulting Corner.